Hello and welcome to another update video on Solana. We're dealing with the daily chart here. Just want to start here to share with you that looking at the bigger picture, it's actually looking quite good. The market is slightly pushing higher here, and the support area is still holding that we covered for the last few weeks here on the daily time frame. Support is between $109.78 and $143.98. That's still the main support area, which is relevant here on the daily time frame, and actually, of course, on the smaller time frame as well. But on the smaller time frame, we had a local 1-2 setup, even a smaller degree one, which kind of played out already. So we're going to take a look at that. You are aware of that if you followed previous video updates. The overall idea is that as long as we're holding the $109.78 level, the market has a chance to rally to $360, which is kind of a target area up there. I'm not sure if we're going to see really all of these 5 waves play out nicely. It would be ideal, though. We have to be very mindful. If really a low forms here, then it is also possible that this was simply an A wave. We had a B wave pullback, and we get a C wave rally from here. I prefer the yellow scenario, because in the white count, we would break down early. I prefer the yellow count. It would, in my view, look best, but it will depend also on Bitcoin to a degree. Bitcoin is in a similar structure, and they do look still kind of different, but Solana has moved, has been moving quite closely related to Bitcoin in this cycle. So we just have to be mindful that once we rally back into this resistance area, I'd say particularly into the region there, around $231 and $258, there could be a big decision, right? But overall, in the short term, it doesn't matter, because in the short term, this support area is shared among both of these scenarios. And honestly, whenever I'm looking at a B wave pullback or a wave 2, they are the same, essentially. Quick educational moment today, someone asked me, what is an invalidation point for a B wave? Now, it's the same, okay? So especially in this particular example where the A wave is a 5-wave move, really it must not break below the beginning of the A wave. That is formal invalidation. That's like in a 1-2 setup. It's essentially the same. Yeah, in reality, B waves respect Fibonacci levels less than wave 2s. Okay, we need to be mindful. But again, it's also possible that this is a wave 2. So I see them as the same. But technically, a B wave, while it technically could overshoot to the downside, strictly speaking, that's only allowed if the A wave is a 3-wave move. In this case, it's actually a 5-wave move. So let's take a look at the shorter time frame for Solana. Before we do that, I know we have around 15% Spanish-speaking viewers here. If you're interested, check out the link in the description. We started this week, we do offer now a Spanish-speaking access to our community. So we're building a separate Spanish-speaking community for everybody who speaks Spanish. You should speak Spanish, though, if you're joining it, or it doesn't make any sense. For the first 250 members, to build like a founders base, pioneers, you get a very, very special price of just, it's just $10 per month, $10 per month for access to all of our updates and so on. Lots of them throughout the day. You can check it out. The link is in the description. So make sure you join if you want to be part of, like the early founders of the MCO Spanish community. Okay, Spanish speaking though. Lots of people from Latin America. Okay, let's take a look here at the shorter time frame. The initial rally that we saw from the 5th of June low, we did say this could be a 5-wave move. So I shared with you a support area, micro support, which acted as a setup. So good reward to risk ratio typically in these areas, obviously, right? I mean, the price has now reacted to the larger degree support nicely, and then also to smaller degree support. Again, anybody who used this for an entry, you might want to adjust your stop to break even or so. Because really, if this is now a breakout in a 3rd wave, we should not see a break below this wave 2 low anymore. in this sequence of 5 waves that you see here on the short-term chart. Wave 1, A, B, C in wave 2, then a third wave, fourth wave, fifth wave. So this is how the process would go in this 5-wave move to the upside. When we get all these 5 waves completed, the next pullback would be a corrective pullback, yeah, in a wave 2, and then from there, a third wave rally would start. So all I want to say is, look, it is possible that we've started this third wave to the upside already from our base down here that we discussed in the first video today. The internal third wave should get at least to $164. That's necessary to really call it a viable third wave. What if we don't get there? Well, if we don't get there, then the risk obviously just increases that, hold on, that the orange count is playing out somehow, yeah? Because in the orange count, we could be dealing with a very messy kind of corrective rally somehow, and then we break down. We might take a more complex route to $164. But even in the orange count, to be honest, we should move a little higher in this B wave. So you might ask, what's the difference between orange and yellow? So in the yellow count, that wave 2 that I showed you on the larger time frame has bottomed already. And the next larger degree 5-wave move would confirm that further. But in the orange count, if we only see a corrective rally, it's difficult to say which one it is at this point. But there's a case that in both scenarios we could see the price push higher. But in the orange count, obviously the rally would be corrective, and it would be something like a corrective rally in wave B, and then we could still move down lower in wave C. But that would simply mean this wave 2 that potentially bottomed already here on the 5th of June, it's simply still unfolding. It wouldn't make a great difference. It would simply be unfolding still. It would make this entire correction a little bit more extended, a little bit more complex. But to be fair, there is currently zero evidence that this is actually what's playing out. So I am looking for higher prices, especially I'd say as long as the price holds now this previous swing low. I mean, this setup was already successful. It is a decent move from the 38.2 retracement twice, but it would obviously be nice if we see some follow through. Yeah. So yeah, that's the update on Solana. I hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Also, make sure to follow us on X for additional content. So you can follow us here on our X profile. There are additional updates. There's lots of stuff about mindset, tips, tricks, and behind the scenes content and much more. Check it out if you're interested. And if you have any questions, you can post them here as well, and someone will answer. Thanks so much. I wish you a great start to the week. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.